Very welcome back. This is Atlantic Television Network Press Roundtable. I want to look at the stories first. The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has charged the committee members investigating the payment of 30 trillion naira ways and means secured from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, by the immediate past government in the last 10 years, not to leave any stone unturned, as they must go after those involved. Speaking on Monday in Abuja while inaugurating the 17-member ad hoc committee that is probing the humongous 30 trillion naira ways and means, which was released as loan to the federal government during the former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Akpabio charged the committee to spend 6 weeks in carrying out the exercise. The President of the Senate enjoined members of the committee, while carrying out a holistic investigation into the matter, should set aside personal and partisan interests, focus on the task at hand and approach their responsibilities with utmost balance, devotion and impartiality. Recognizing the sensitivity of the investigation at hand, Akpabio reminded them to constantly engage with relevant stakeholders and consultants to provide invaluable insight, while maintaining open lines of communication with the executive and the public, but disclosing no aspect of the report until the task is concluded. The committee to probe the humongous 30 million naira trillion ways and means, which was released as loan to the federal government during the former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, which is chaired by Senator Jibrin Esa, APC Kogi East, has Senators Asuko Ebong, APC Cross River South Mohammed Tahir Munguno, APC Bruno Victor Ume, LP Anambra Central, and Olamilekon Adeola, APC Ogun West, as members. Others are Senators Sani Musa, APC Niger East, Aliyu Wadada, SDP, Nasrawa Abdul Ningi, PDP, Bochi Central, and Ipa Libo Baningo Hari, PDP Rivers West. The Ways and Means is an overdraft taken directly from the Central Bank of Nigeria to solve contingency needs of the nation following approval and directive of the executive arm of government, which would have to be rectified by the parliament. They are loans or advances by the CBN to the federal government to enable a cater for short-term or emergency finances to fund delayed government expected cash received or physical deficit. Well, this program, this particular story is actually really, catching my attention, because when they said that 30 trillion ways and means payment, that they said they have to go after everyone who is actually responsible. That's what Akpabio said. But before we go on, I would like to introduce my guest this beautiful evening. His name is President Probel. Mr. President Probel, you're welcome. Good to have you on the show.
And this is my pleasure.
How are you this evening?
Fine, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
So actually you've seen the stories on ground where they are saying that they have to interrogate, they have to investigate this particular trillion naira ways and means, because it was gotten through Buhari's administration, in the past, before the assumption of the office of this incumbent president right now, President Bola Tinubu Ahmed. Right now, so what we are talking about is that they said they have to investigate. Do you believe that it's going to be credible? Do you believe that they are going to come up with a thorough investigation? And if this particular money is being recovered, do you think that they are going to channel it into the right account for as long as we're in Nigeria?
Thank you very much for the question. But first and foremost, we've had over the years couple of investigations from successive governments when there have been mismanagement of funds. So anytime there is investigation, it means that there is no satisfaction regarding huge amounts of money that has been taken from the CBN, and they cannot see tangible evidence what he has been done with. But over the years, this investigation has been going on with unsolved, because after the money has been recovered, or one problem or the other, you see the person they interrogated, they found out that they have connections with bigger people in power in Nigeria. The situation will be silenced. On the other hand, when the money is recovered and they find out that the money has been recovered, they still share it among themselves. So I think they are making us a laughing stock when they are talking about this. Overdraft, or let's say ways and means, is an overdraft. Money that is for contingency, that is for emergency. Like if there is a national outbreak of diseases, or when we are talking about refugee camps, or there is decimation of some communities regarding Boko Haram sect, what is happening in the northeast, those kind of money were earmarked to solve those problems for the citizenry. But if you understand that we have a kind of leadership that does not care about the feelings and the yearnings of the people. So if the money, they are investigating the money and it is discovered or recovered from the source that has been embezzled, what are they going to do with it? Over the years, the one they've investigated, what have they done with it? That
Exactly.
is the question that we need to ask.
And now, taking into consideration the situation of the economy right now, I think everyone will expect that they have to make judicious use of this, because this is a really huge amount of money, talking about 30 trillion naira Nigerian currency. So I think the way the economy is actually moving on right now, they had to good use. But let's look at this insecurity. Gunmen, let's look at this one. Armed hoodlums suspected to be kidnappers attacked again and killed a man. Well, armed hoodlums, they suspected to be kidnappers, attacked again and killed a man yet to be identified when he was traveling with his family in Enugu State. It was gathered from sources that the gunmen attacked the family and killed the man at the spot while his wife and daughter were whisked away. The incident reportedly happened yesterday, March 10, along Afa Egede Road in Udi local government area of Enugu State. The spokesman of Enugu State Police Command Daniel Ndukwe, who confirmed the incident, said that the hoodlums and rescue of the kidnapped victims are ongoing. Now, for the past 12 years, Nigeria have experienced high level of insecurity in the country. And Atlantic Television Network team had reported a series of attacks from terrorists, bandits, named it armed men, herdsmen, armed robbers, thuggery, unknown masked men, in fact, in all states of the country. Nigeria security personnel have been killing, they have been arresting and launching counterattacks against these hoodlums. Now, this, as you can see the pictorial expression there, the gunmen, both the unknown gunmen and the police, the security agencies, you know, they're actually trying to make sure that they quell this particular crisis going on in the country. Now, Nigerian insecurity, this is really bad, and it's really painted Nigeria into not a good light. Okay, now don't you think that Nigeria, this is a story of a man, they killed a man, they kidnapped the wife, they kidnapped the daughter in Enugu State. Now that comes, this community policing comes into play. Does it mean that it is not being intensified, or they are not really working as they should in order to prevent this kind of insecurity? Do you think that they are not doing enough? Because I feel that they are not doing enough.
Okay, let me say this before I continue, before I go straight to the point. Let me say that the issue of insecurity boils down to the issue of national security. In other parts of the world, there are people that advance in security-wise. You can see a couple of issues, like you see some people that are schizophrenias. Some of them, they say they have excess dopamine, and they unleash anger on the populace. Like somebody I read about, Stephen Paddock. He was a billionaire in dollar and a gambler. In Las Vegas, that day they sat and people, the loved ones, they were together. And he was moving. He didn't use the lift. He was using his leg from down up. 32nd floor, Las Vegas. And after some time, he set automatic revolver. And he carried another AK-47. And he was shooting directly at the crowd. And he killed about 200 and something persons. And about 500 and something persons was injured. Before FBI could trace the room to the 32nd floor, he has already committed suicide. They investigated down to his family and found out that he has never committed a crime in his life. So they were thinking about what happened. Our security analysis is that this man is a gambler and he must have staked huge amounts of money into gambling. So he vent his spleen on the populace and key people. Those kind of incidences, you can see them in developed nations about insecurity. People, racism, can just go into a mall and shoot black race, the Negroes, and kill them. But you don't hear cases of kidnapping frequently in the nation. It is an economic issue. It's boiled down to national security. Because the people, there is unemployment, there is low standard of education, people that are not even sensitive about what life means because they didn't give them decent and standard quality education. These are the major problem, and the welfare of the people. Now, it's an impoverished nation. So those people you see, they are equivalent to animals. The bandit and
okay,
the
now so that means the people perpetrating this crime and criminality, most of all these bandits, is as a result because of the fact that they were not really trained. Maybe they didn't have good education. In fact, that's why they resorted to crime.
Yes. First and foremost, a lack of quality education, unemployment, and extreme poverty. That's the cause of it. When you see incessant issues of insecurity in the nation, and it all connects. It's a chain. When we are talking about investigation of 30 trillion naira, when all these monies are not utilized, industry has not built. If you check, there are flashpoints of insecurity in Nigeria. You check the south, you check the northeast, and you check the southeast. These are places. If you check Lagos, where is a hub of economy in the country, the issue of kidnapping insecurity is reduced. It's not that it's not happening, but pockets of insecurity and kidnapping is not as common as it is in the southeast and the northeast.
Okay, now let's look at another stories that's talking about Governor Kabir Yusuf of Kano State. He appealed to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to, as a matter of urgency, consider the reopening of the country's borders for the importation of food in order to alleviate the suffering of the Nigerian masses. Now, the appeal was contained in a statement issued by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Bature Dawankin Tofa, shortly after receiving the Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Bashir Adewale Adeni, at Government House in Kano. Governor Yusuf lamented the critical condition of hunger and starvation in the country, which was caused by the rampant hike in the price of commodities in the country. And he said, we wish to appreciate the President's intervention on the ongoing National Food Initiative, which he considers Kano as a host for the initiative to be launched, believing that the program will cushion the effect of food scarcity if implemented. According to the governor, another immediate intervention that can make food available and affordable for our teeming population is for the federal government to consider the reopening of the borders and allow free importation of commodities. During the meeting with the Controller General of Customs, Bashir Adewale Adeni, in his office, Governor Yusuf emphasized the prevalent hardships faced by the populace, particularly during the sacred month of Ramadan, underscoring the necessity of opening the borders to alleviate their distress. Now, I've listened to this series, talking about begging the President Tinubu to reopen land borders so that we can have a very smooth transaction. And now is about the governor of Kano, Governor Yusuf. Now, do you think this reopening of the borders is going to go a long way in tackling this economic crisis we are experiencing here in Nigeria?
I would say that it will reduce it temporarily. But
okay, temporarily.
Yes, but it will not solve our economic problem.
Okay.
And most time I get offended and angry about some appeal that are making by people in that magnitude of leadership, because there is no creativity. You know, sometimes it's heartbreaking hearing these things. There is a saying that he does not own control of his food does not own control over his freedom. When you don't have control over your food, you don't have freedom. Let's assume that there is a kind of external insurrection, and a particular country that had the issue with us have been the source of our food supply. What do you think will happen to us when we are importing food from another nation to succeed? What do you think will happen to us? What the governor appealed to the president does not go down well with me, in the sense that there should be this level of survival instinct. I think we've not suffered enough. If people that have suffered enough, they would think creatively on how to make food for ourselves. We have large landmass in Nigeria that people can utilize that opportunity, and arable agricultural land that we can use and produce food that we will export to other nations. For people that are still calling the president to bring food to us, I have a strategy that if I become the governor of this state,
okay,
I would push all taxi drivers, keke drivers, or the tricycle down to their village, go back home, and go and back on agricultural production. I think that is the major problem. What are you doing in the city? If you go to Maitama, you go to Wuse and Mambuchi, Akankwe in Abuja, you could see keke drivers and buses littering the street and causing nuisance to the people. Did anybody die? And they escape? People need to go into massive agricultural production. I think they always say that necessity is the mother of invention. If we are hungry enough and people want to actually survive, you see they will find a strategy on how to survive. You will not hear any creative assertion about these governors that they are giving some money to farmers or fertilizers, or they are importing machines for organized farming into the nation. Is to cordon. So they always look for soft landing, how to get food immediately. You see, if you train your children to always get what they want to eat, you see they grow up and they cannot face the street. They cannot work for themselves. You have to train people to be tough, toughen them. I think if we were situated, let me put it like that, naturally by God, in a very decent environment, African country in particular. So when you talk about the heat waves, you will not hear that 100 persons was killed because of the heat waves in Ozoaba. So that one will quicken the local government chairman and the governor of the state to take a drastic measure to solve that problem. Because anything that happens to us, we always survive the situation. So nobody wants to think creatively on how to solve the problem. It's only soft landing, easy means to survive. I think this does not portend well for the governor, what he's calling the president to do. We need to develop that survival instinct, how to produce things by ourselves, not to depend on other nations.
No, but then reopening the borders, I think it's all about encouraging the importation of foods into our own country so that we can have at least a reasonable, have a reasonable quantity of foods that we can as well consume here. Because if the borders are not opened, if it is closed, I think that relationship with outside, Nigeria we won't have that free flow, and is going to really not help our country.
I asked one of my friends recently that if you're my friend, there should be some significant issues that you're contributing to my life.
Okay.
So what are you known for? So the question we ask Nigerian is, what is Nigeria known for? We import everything, even slippers, even toothpick, even small, little thing, everything that import everything is imported. What are we known for that we produce? It's only the oil and gas. We don't even know the volume that they extract from our soil every day. Nobody knows about that, because what they teach us in school, that our curriculum, they don't teach us that side of it. It's only the Bible that they interpret to Africans so that we know. We don't even know what they do. What are we known for that we import cars, we import toothpicks, we import slippers, we want to import food? There are other big businesses we can do with other nations, what we are not good at.
Okay.
That will build that relationship.
Okay, then how about importing the goods as well as implementing what you just said right now, like encouraging locally made foods and then industries and all of that? How about that? Don't you think there's going to be a stability a little bit?
If the food is imported?
Yes. No, if we have this importation, if the border is reopened, because we can't say let's close the border. If the border is reopened, there's going to be this relationship we're going to have then to bring food and export, and at the same time implementing what you just suggested right now, that of course that is looking at on Nigerians, you know, locally made foods, industries, and it's going to go a long way in boosting the economy. How about that?
The importation, opening for other importation, what are we, what do we have that are readily available for importation, for exportation? Let me put it like that.
Okay, now let's just look at this one. Let's look at the United Kingdom. They have banned healthcare workers from bringing dependents to the country. The Home Office, in a statement issued on Monday, said the new plan is to slash migration levels and curb abuse of immigration system. The Home Office noted that the new measure would deliver the biggest ever reduction in the country's net migration. Britain's government said it was aware of reducing unprecedented and unsustainable levels of legal migration to the country. Now, according to the Home Office, the revision will encourage business to look to British talent first and invest in their workforce. This will help the UK deter employers from over-relying on migration while bringing salaries in line with the average full-time salary for these types of jobs. Interior Secretary James Cleverly said his plan would result in 300,000 fewer people coming to the UK in the coming years. On the plan set out by Cleverly, workers would need to earn at least 38,700 euros to obtain a visa, up from 26,200 euro, while key workers will be barred from bringing independence from next April. And he said the first of our 5 points will be to end the abuse of the care visa. We will stop overseas care workers from bringing family members, dependents, and we will require firms in England to be regulated by the Healthcare Quality Commission in order for them to sponsor visas. Now, you look at these abroad workers, they are banning overseas health workers from bringing in their families. And most times when they give them jobs like this, they will say, okay, you come with your husband, you come with your wife, you can come with your children. These provisions now, they are saying that they are going to tamper with it, they are going to reduce it. Do you think it's going to affect Nigerians?
It's going to affect those people that are moving to the foreign country. But in my opinion, I always see this as good stuffs. You understand? Most time we are not happy about what is happening. That it is in the case of Nigerians moving to foreign nations when you have a better place here to stay. These are the issues that we always complain about. When you see that the country is not well arranged and properly managed the way it should be, everybody wants to move to another nation to do this. I think when there are policies like this in the nation, it should make us to rethink and go back to where we have fallen and start again. You see, the manpower are moving from this country to this. Is another basic area of economic development, the population of a nation. In the past, our fathers used to get married to three, four wives. The essence is for agricultural production. Because when you want to farm on your land, only your children and your wives would bring enough food to the table in the house. Nowadays, people that are moving all the way from Nigeria, and immediately you move, you carry your wives, you carry your children, you carry your parents like that to move, because the environment, their country is not working for them. If you're living here, you always feel that something is wrong with you until you move to other nations. And this, I just read this evening online, seeing somebody who is looking for a worker who would be a dog sitter in the UK for 6 days, that is going for a holiday in Sweden to spend some time with his family. So he's searching for people that will sit with the dog for 6 days. Those are the kind of job our people are doing over there. Some of them are gardeners. They are taking care of the elderly and putting them pampers, cleaning them up. And when they spend money here, people abuse it. The kind of odd jobs they are doing there when they have a good country like this, I think it is very sad. That is why we are encouraging young people to call the leadership to order leadership of this country.
Exactly, because that comes into a play right now. Now, if they ban these people, Nigeria has to re-strategize, because it's going to affect families. Now, creating more employment for people to work, making the environment enabled in order for them to at least remain here, not just moving, because definitely I know it's going to affect some relationships. It's going to affect families. If I get a job and they say, okay, get a husband, and they said, no, you cannot get a husband, you have to work with us, that means I have to decline the job.
That is it.
Then if I decline the job, where will I fall into? I'm going to fall out. Will I have any job here working? Or I will just be sitting down and be watching the country folding or moving backwards, and then, you know, what will be my fate?
And then if you check statistics, every day the population is increasing. Like I said, when people suffered enough, they will stand up and think and take action. You see, when you do that, things should be in place. If you don't revolt, you don't get what you want. What we always talk about is revolution. That mindset, your mindset has to be revolutionized. When you start from the leadership to order for accountability, you need to know, call them to question, because we have what it takes to build our own nation, and everybody is running to other nations. The Philippines, you check other smaller nations like the UAE we'll talk about, like Singapore. See how they came here to get palm nuts. And that is what they are doing, and they are exporting to other countries. Here, people just want to jackpot, they want to move to other. I was listening to the late Albert Wigwe, one of his interviews, and the university he wants to build in his place.
Yes.
He talks about world-class university that will revolutionize the minds of young people, that you don't need to look for a job. You need to think out of the box and develop something for yourself, create job for other people. That is the kind of system we want to create.
Honestly, that's so sad we lost him.
Almost all my friends wants to move. If you go to a church and the pastor called and ordered everybody who wants to leave this country, come, everybody wants to leave. Then who will stay here and build the country?
Exactly.
So I'm interested in them banning people not to go to other nations. Let's stay here. If we suffer enough, people will think about how to solve our internal problem than running to other countries.
But I think we have really suffered enough. Then the government has to do something, because we've already really suffered enough.
What happened in Zimbabwe happened here, when people will carry money, like loaves of bread, to go and get a cabin biscuit. That is, you push money in wheelbarrow when the money does not have value. When you want to die of hunger, people will think. They will be angry and talk about the issue of leadership failure. And that will solve our problem. So I like what they are doing. You just see, my younger sister is doing nursing in the UK. She was here. When she goes there, as you're serving in the hospital, you are taking care of people, you are not paid. But the citizens of the UK are paid. You see, the huge amount of money, now about 30-something million school fees per year. Now it's going to, because of the exchange rate, it's going to be about 40-something million. And they are not paying her where she's working for the government. You see that level of discrimination. And people that are still running, see how much, 40-something million naira for one person. And the school fees here is just about 200 and something, and we are shouting for another nation.
All right,
You see the way we are
that's the
destroying
much
our
we can
economy.
take right now. I'm so sorry. Time is not really on our side. We really have to, cut it short because press roundtable continues tomorrow. We're going to look at other issues same time and tomorrow every single day from Monday to Friday. You can stay connected on Atlantic Television socials and also follow and like our page on our Twitter, Atlantic TV Net, on our Facebook and on YouTube. Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram and on TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1. You can also watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. On our app, ATN Live, and on our YouTube and Facebook, Atlantic Television Network. Atlantic Television Network Press Roundtable, we provide the right narrative in news narration. Global news come your way at 9 p.m. this evening. Peace and unity are always the pathways to progress. So thank you so very much for viewing. And I want to thank my guest here, President Probel. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
It is my
Thank you.
pleasure.
It's nice having you once
Thank
again.
you. Thank you.
I am Angel Wokoma. Thanking you so very much for watching. Do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.